Live with that story.
An earthquake devastates Turkey, killing thousands. Straight ahead, how the power of that massive quake compares to the one that shook Magna nearly 3 years ago.
If you've been on the road, you may have
trapped in all that rubble. Team coverage for you tonight. Let's start things off with NBC's Molly Hunter with the latest on the devastation.
And all of those numbers sense of the devastation. Molly Hunter, NBC News, London.
Molly, thank you. The University of Utah recorded that massive earthquake at their seismograph station right here. As news specialist Jed Bowles shows us, the destructive energy generated by this earthquake in Turkey dwarfs the earthquake that rattled Magna just 3 years ago. Jed?
Yeah, exactly, Ashley. A seismologist at the University of Utah tells me that anytime there's a 7.8 magnitude earthquake, that it's a very big deal. Jamie Farrell showed us the seismograms created by the 7.8 magnitude earthquake and the 7.5 aftershock. He tells me the damage is extensive because of the sheer power of the quake and also the fact that most of the buildings in that region are not likely fortified. The Magna earthquake in March 2020 was a 5.7 magnitude earthquake. Farrell tells me this magnitude 7.8 is about 163 times the size as far as how big it would look on a seismograph because of the magnitude jump from 5.7 to 7.8. In terms of the damage potential, the comparison is just off the charts.
If you look at the total amount of energy released or how much shaking you would feel, it's about 1,400 times the size of that earthquake. In other words, we would have to have 1,400 5.7 Magna-sized earthquakes to equal the amount of energy that was released in this one 7.8.
And it's devastating, and especially because where the earthquake happened was in the lower income area of that vicinity.
That woman was born in Turkey and now owns Kava Cafe, a Turkish cafe in Salt Lake City where she serves up authentic coffee, meals, and treats. Coming up at 6:30, she shares her greatest concerns for her birthland. And the seismologist emphasizes that this earthquake is a good reminder for all of us who live in earthquake country to make sure that we are always prepared. For Live at 5, I'm Jed Bowles.
All right, Jed, thank you. Right now, a massive...
Isabel Rosales reporting.
Isabel, thank you. The destructive energy generated by the earthquake in Turkey dwarfs the earthquake that rattled Magna nearly 3 years ago.
News specialist Jed Bowles introduces us to a Turkish native here in Utah who, as you can imagine, is worried about her birthplace.
A seismologist at the University of Utah tells me that anytime there's a 7.8 magnitude earthquake, it's a big deal. That's distressing to a local cafe owner who was born near the epicenter and still has friends and family in the region.
About 8 milliliters of water. And
Elif Akin owns Kava Cafe, a Turkish cafe where she serves up authentic coffee, meals, and treats. She was born in Adana.
Where is the epicenter right now of the earthquake?
Her father is Turkish, her mother American.
That's where my mom and dad lived for like 5 years in the late 60s, early 70s.
She first heard about the earthquake from a text from a friend. Akin's family and friends are okay, but she's troubled for the Turkish people.
It's devastating, and especially because where the earthquake happened was in the lower income area of that vicinity. So the structures were probably not built the best for stability.
This week, Akin plans to give 10% of her sales to help support the people in Turkey.
Roads are uprooted. There's 2,300 buildings that have collapsed. We've lost a lot of historic artifacts and archaeological sites.
Irreplaceable relics of history.
Buildings can be replaced. People can heal and mend and all that other stuff, but the history, I think that's the hardest.
A seismologist at the University of Utah showed us the seismograms created by the 7.8 magnitude earthquake and the 7.5 aftershock. Jamie Farrell tells me this magnitude 7.8 earthquake is about 163 times larger than the 5.7 earthquake that rattled Magna in March 2020. In terms of the damage potential, the comparison is off the charts.
If you look at the total amount of energy released or how much shaking you would feel, it's about 1,400 times the size of that earthquake. In other words, we would have to have 1,400 5.7 magna-sized earthquakes to equal the amount of energy that was released in this one 7.8.
The seismologist emphasizes that this is a good reminder to all of us here in Utah who live in earthquake country to always be prepared. For KSL-5 News, I'm Jed Bowl.
Jed, thank you. Our European leaders, the Church of Jesus Christ,